Life is just like a video game. And when you know how to use those traits, whether it's in video games or in fitness or something else that you are good at, finding success online is just as simple. It's not easy, takes time, but it's simple, okay? And when I started out, I wish I knew the things that I'm about to share with you, because when you're at zero online, or you've maybe made a couple hundred, couple thousand, it's very, very hard to know who to listen to. Why? Because if you type in making money online, you're gonna get like 1,000 results and 1,000 ways to do it, but who do you really listen to? Well, I think there's one truth that we all can stand behind, and that is that you should learn from people who are where you want to be at undeniably, and learn from people who you like, trust, and you can relate to. And so for me, my starting point, like I started at ground zero, right? I had a pretty good upbringing. My dad took great care of me, but by no means were we rich. We were basically living in around 30, 40K a year, which is pretty decent if you live in the Netherlands, but it's still like around minimum wage. But nonetheless, I was able to build it myself to now become a multi-millionaire, but obviously I didn't start there, right? So I really want to go onto like the starting point, what I wish I knew then, and how I can like basically show you the things that I learned when reflecting back upon my journey that allowed me to get success online. So with that being said, we're gonna be diving into it right now. So guys, again, at the beginning, my identity, I was someone that I started out when I was like around 20 years old in the online space, and I was working 2 supermarket jobs. I was going to college, studying how to become a manager in the retail, and that was pretty much like the direction I was headed in, right? And with that, I wanted to also make money online, but my skill was at zero, right? So it was a big fat zero, and that's okay, right? Like you got to start somewhere. But how do you then go from zero to going and making 10K per month, right? It's a pretty difficult bridge to gap, because it doesn't just like have to do with your skill. It also has to do with like, improving the traits that you have as a person, right? It's learning how to put your ego aside in conversations or tough situations or when you feel pressured. It's making sure that like when there is a lot of stress and frustration, and you know how to emotionally control yourself and objectively be able to like look at the situation for what it is and resolve it, right? And the better you become as a person and your skill improves, that's gradually how you're gonna be compounding momentum. And then at a certain point, you'll see 10K per month as a byproduct of momentum and the person you're becoming. Remember, it's not the man that makes the money. Sorry, it's reverse. It's not the money that makes the men, it's the man that makes the money. And that is 100% true when it comes down to finding success online, right? So now, how do you start? How do you go from 0 to 10K per month? I'm gonna explain to you exactly how it went for me. So back in December 2018, I was basically working 2 supermarket jobs, right? So I was at a job, I was going to school, and I wanted to like become a biz owner the next day, right? So I wanted to basically become a biz owner and make 10K per month. Now, I found making this switch very, very hard, because I was going through a course, I was doing exactly what they told me, but when it came down to like taking the actions, and especially, I don't know if you guys can relate to this one, but cold calling, so I was building out my SMMA, is the first business model that I entered, and cold calling was so freaking scary to me, right? And I closed 2 clients in a 3-month time span, which brought in $1,500, but by no means was I, able to like quit my job and really achieve financial freedom as everyone tells you that you can achieve online. But what did happen in those 3 months is like my skill level went from a 0 to a 1, right? So I became better at communicating. I became better at having more patience, because I started to like read a book, which I recommend to you all. It's called The Miracle Morning. Let me just make sure you can see this. Yep, it's called The Miracle Morning. This book honestly changed my life, because it was only when I started to like change my habits, which this book helped me with, my life completely changed. And there's something about like just you at 5 a.m. reading that book right here that tells you exactly the blueprint you have to follow as a person, step by step, to get to this, right? So you start here by working on your identity and your skills. Over time they level up. And as they level up, then, with time you can become financially free. But what does that exactly look like, Bas? Like, sure, you could just jab with these words on there with the numbers, but it doesn't make any sense to me. So let me explain to you in more business terms and more simple terms what I could look like for you. Okay? So going over to the next page right here. Okay, so look, as I explained, Jan 2019, or I said actually December 2018, but the next month I closed my first client, right? That was great feeling. It was for 500 euros per month. And then in March 2019, I closed another client. So that was my second client, and that was for 1K per month. So in about 3-ish months time, I was making, 1,500 per month. It's not bad. Like, that was life changing for me, but not life changing enough really objectively to go ahead, quit my jobs and, throw in the towel with my supermarket job as well, right? So something came on my path, which was also in March, right? And I found it really difficult to scale this because not only did I have to deliver results as a complete newbie, I also had to retain my clients month on month, communicate with them, and to pay a media buyer to deliver them results. So my profit was actually 1K per month instead of this. So 1K per month, 2 clients, retain them each month. It's not sexy, nor is it really good or gonna get you to a great spot in your life, right? So that being said, I had that going on in the background. And in March, also 2019, I had an opportunity, right? And this opportunity was called remote appointment setting. That's how I call it now. And this was so the way I closed these clients was from a course I was learning from that I paid $500 for, right? And the person that got me into that course, he said hey Bas, congrats on your success. We're actually looking for someone that is, basically got some good communication skills and can get well along with people. Would you be interested in a sales opportunity with our company, right? As a remote appointment setter. So, but they just called it salesperson. And first I told him no, dude, I'm literally the most socially anxious person you'll ever see. I'm literally depressed. And I didn't tell him that, but at the time I was literally depressed, social anxiety, addicted to porn, low confidence. Bro, the last thing I want to do is get into sales, right? But anyway, long story short, he did convince me, said hey man, if you at least give it a try, maybe it's something for you, then that's all good. So I told myself well, what do I have to lose? Technically nothing. So I went ahead and I took the opportunity. And then 7 days in, right, I basically became the best performing salesperson in the entire organization, right? So I basically set a record of sales where I brought in 2K in 1 week in commissions for myself. So that translated to about 10K in revenue because I got 20% commission. And from there, I essentially continued and I shocked myself and I shocked the company. And I did this for another 21 days. So that's a total a month, right? And then I made 6K in my first month, right? And what happened here is I built up my identity even stronger by getting confirmation and proof of real life accomplishments. Because as you know, you've also got affirmations and things you can tell yourself, but there's nothing like actually seeing results blossom true and then building your confidence, so your identity further and other traits, along with skill set by closing people into a certain course that I was also a part of and getting results from and I truly believe in. I made 6K in commissions. So then I compared well shit, I made 1K in profit. I'm at 1.5K per month with my agency every single day I'm talking with my clients. Here I'm just getting one-off commissions and I'm already part of a successful company and I'm learning so much. I think this makes more sense, right? But then actually something bad happens and I'm gonna tell you right now what happens. company actually thought I was scamming them, right? So month one for myself, they thought I was scamming them. 6K, like, Bass, this doesn't look right. Basically what they said is, we're gonna have a virtual assistant that we're hiring, check out your commissions and have them verify everything. And that happened. And then a couple days later, they verified it, they apologized, and we moved on, right? And so I'm gonna put a long story short here, but I just wanted to like show you my starting point. So after I got paid, then April 2019 came around. And you know, fresh month with commission, some were recurring, so that's great, right? So I already like would get 1K in commission or something from like the initial payments that I brought in as commission. And what happened was, the person that recruited me into the company got invited to the company in-person office to basically full-time manage there. But he found it too hard and he got homesick, so he just left Serbia, where the office is based at the time, and he just went back to the United States. So what happened was, because that happened, they basically reached out to me and they said, hey Bass, we need someone to come into your office and manage the team, and given you're the highest performer and we love what we've seen so far, we'd love to give you the opportunity to come to Serbia and work closely together with us. And that's pretty much where I said, hell yeah, let's do it. So what I did is I quit my job, right? Because I wanted to like give that a couple more months, maybe even like a year, and finish my studies, as like I was making the money on the side, because I didn't know if it was gonna continue to happen. And I also quit school. And this was all the next day when I got that opportunity and I accepted it, right? And then I booked tickets to a country I've never been to. And then from there, I basically, long story short, I went to Serbia. My dad was not happy. He said, Bass, you should finish like your college. You should stick with the security of the job and the income you're bringing in. This is not gonna work out, is what he told me, right? And at the time, like, it hurt me a lot because I just wanted my dad to believe in me. And I totally understand, like, in his perception and worldview, he's like, well, this is what I've done and I know this is gonna be secure and safe for you, so you should do this too. But I knew with like where the world was going, and it still is going, this was the way to go. So I took a risk and it paid off, right? And basically in the next month, so in May, right? So you can see right here in May, I made 8K. And I also have like a lot of pictures and photos from Serbia that you can like see on my Instagram. And then in June, I made my first 12K. So month one, 6K, month two, 8K, month three, 12K. And then I was hovering between 10 to 12K per month. And then, now here's the kicker, right? As I was going through all this, guys, like my skill and my identity, because I made so many sales and I learned so many things and I was part of an already successful company, in those 6 months, I went from remote appointment setting that I did for 6 months to then, and I did like, you know, around 10K on average per month with this. I went then like to my own business, right? So I restarted my agency called High Time Media, where I basically would help plastic surgeons, and I was using LinkedIn as my main platform. I hired a mentor, and then I made 15K in a month, right? So this took me 6 months to achieve. Now, I say 6 months and it doesn't seem like a long time, but this was like working 10, 12 hours every single day for 6 months, sacrificing a lot and making quick and risky decisions, like, again, quitting my school, quitting my job, and going to Serbia, to a country I've never been to. Has paid off, but big risk, right? Then started my social media marketing agency, scaled it in the first month to 15K per month, because I took all the skill and the identity traits from what I learned here to my business, And like it grew so much faster because of that. Whereas if you're a complete beginner and all you're learning from is like a course and things are going slow and you're kind of like surrounded by like all your old habits, your old environment, your old life, it's constantly gonna push you away and pull you away from your goals and make it really hard to be in flow state and carry on forward to getting to 10, 15K per month, whatever it is, right? Because the person you are today is not gonna be the person that you will become when you are at 10, 50, 100K per month, okay? I can tell you that from being a multimillionaire myself. I don't say it to brag, I just say to like really back up what I'm saying here. And so to continue onwards, if I could give any beginner advice, start with something that is like low barrier of entry instead of like business. Because building a business sounds nice and it's really nice to do, but the amount of like skill you have to build, right? Because when you get into sales like I did, and I made that my first, like successful venture for myself, you just learn one skill. It's just sales, you can make 10K per month. Whereas if you are starting a business, you have to learn 7 to 10 skills, plus you have to make money simultaneously. Learning one skill really well takes at least like a year, right? Learning 7 to 10, if we factor in a year for each skill, that's a long time. Now, you can accelerate this though. Instead of it being a year, you can like do it in 1 to 2 months. How? By being part of an already successful company as a remote appointment setter or a sales rep. And the reason why that works so well is because you can basically see what works and what doesn't in an already successful company, right? So then I started my business. I did it for like about a year. And then also, as I did that, I basically launched my consulting business, right? So I basically had people that I was giving value on my Facebook, because at the time, like I had a Facebook that I was more active on, and I would like do live videos and share like with people like, what's happening in my agency, how we're delivering to clients. And I had someone reach out to me and she asked me like, hey Bas, do you do any coaching? And then my friend was sitting across from me and I asked him like, hey Daniel, someone's asking me if I do coaching, what should I say? And he said, yeah, you do coaching. And then I basically told her, yep, I do coaching. And then she asked me, well, how much do you charge? And I said, look at Daniel, and I told Daniel like, hey, she's asking me how much I charge. What should I say? And then Daniel said, $300. And then I told her like, yep, so it's $300 for coaching for 4 sessions, right? And then she said, okay, great. Send me the invoice, let's get started. And I was shocked because I was like, wow, this is the easiest sale I've ever made in my life. And the reason why is because I was basically just practicing what I was preaching. I was displaying it online, and then basically she came to me, she trusted me, and all she wanted to do is just like ask how it works logistically, and she moved forward. That's like how I started consulting, right? And then in the first 30 days, that too, on top of my agency, became a 10K per month income stream, right? This was like 6 months into building my agency, and I was just like helping beginner agency owners get their first few clients. And this is how you hack success, by being part of an already successful company. Because if you like are at home and you're trying to become a different person and try to achieve things you've never achieved before, you need to like be around people that have done that, so like you can learn from that, right? So this is the fastest way as a beginner to go ahead and do that. So if I could all give you steps, I'll like just go right here to the next slide. So it's number 1, like start in sales. Right, and I would say if you're not a very confident person, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like there's so many people out there, including myself, that at the beginning I was not confident, and that's totally fine. So if that's the case, like start with remote appointment setting. Because you don't need to show your face, you don't need to talk to people. You're already a part of a successful business, and therefore you can already literally make money in your first 30 days because the company's already generating cash. As you're doing that, like develop your skill sets. And then as you develop your skill set, then you can go ahead and pretty much at a certain point, whenever you feel ready, for me that was after 6, 7-ish months, start your own business. Because then you by the time you've developed your skill, you're improving like your income with commissions from remote appointment setting, or you're growing to a closer and you talk to people, then you're gonna have like an up leveled, right? So new level, skill and identity. And then you basically take the new person you've become in those 6-7 months into a new business, and then you'll see that starting it, you'll see success very, very fast because you've already done so much of the hard work that some people never ever do because they just don't know the concept of this, right? So those are the steps that you need to take if you want to become successful. And these are literally the steps that I've taken myself. So this is not like a random checklist. It's literally just start in sales, start with remote appointment setting, develop your skill, and then also up-level your skill and identity as you're part of an already successful organization for 6 to 12 months, and then start your business. But don't start a business tomorrow and then expect to be successful because you have no idea what's waiting for you. Because the guru will tell you can make 10K per month. I'm telling you the truth of what it actually takes, and this is what it takes. Changing who you are as a person, improving your flaws, turning your weaknesses into your strength. And then from there, as you develop yourself, again, as I said, it's not the money that makes the man, it's the man that makes the money. And that's how you become that person. So I hope this video was valuable to you. That's really my goal with these YouTube videos. So if you did, please leave a like, sub to the channel, and stay tuned for more videos.